we're not doing bidding here. Come on. But I also want to make sure that I'm not showing gender bias. So this young lady right here, not you, sir. I'm sorry.
Hi, Mr. President.
How are you?
Thank you for choosing me. I'm very well. I'm Simrat from the Times of India.
Wonderful.
You met with our Prime Minister Manmohan Singh. What is America doing to help India tackle terrorism emanating from Pakistan?
Well, first of all, your Prime Minister is a wonderful man.
Thank you. I know.
And
I agree.
Well,
I agree.
You know, did you have something to do with that, or? You seem to kind of take credit for it a little bit there.
I'm really proud of him.
Of course, you should be proud of him. I'm teasing you. I think he's a very wise and decent man, and has done a wonderful job in guiding India, even prior to being Prime Minister, along a path of extraordinary economic growth that is a marvel, I think, for all the world. We did discuss the issue of terrorism, and we discussed it not simply in terms of terrorism emanating from Pakistan, although obviously we are very concerned about extremists and terrorists who have made camp in the border regions of Pakistan as well as in Afghanistan. But we spoke about it more broadly in terms of how we can coordinate effectively on issues of counterterrorism. We also spoke about the fact that in a nuclear age, at a time when perhaps the greatest enemy of both India and Pakistan should be poverty, that it may make sense to create a more effective dialogue between India and Pakistan. But obviously, we didn't go in depth into those issues. We talked about a whole range of other issues related to, for example, energy, and how important it is for the United States to lead by example in reducing our carbon footprint so that we can help to forge agreements with countries like China and India that on a per capita basis have a much smaller footprint and so justifiably chafe at the idea that they should have to sacrifice their development for our efforts to control climate change, but also acknowledging that if China and India, with their populations, had the same energy usage as the average American, then we would have all melted by now. And so that was a very interesting conversation that I will be pursuing not just with India, but hopefully with China and with other countries around the world. In some ways, our European counterparts have moved more quickly than we have on this issue. But I think even the Europeans have recognized that it's not easy. It's even harder during times of economic downturn. And so we're going to have to combine the low-hanging fruit of energy efficiency with rapid technological advances. And to the extent that in some cases we can get international cooperation and pool our scientific and technical knowledge around things like developing coal sequestration, for example, that can be extremely helpful. Okay? I'm going to call on my last American correspondent, Chip. And Chip, my heart goes out to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. President. I appreciate that.
I just heard about that.
Really do. Certainly, there is a lot of sentiment in G20 countries that the United States was a major cause of the global economic meltdown. To what degree did that topic come up in your discussions? Did it make it difficult for some countries to accept advice from the United States when they blame the United States and its economic system for causing this in the first place? And how do you respond to people who do blame America?
Well, you know, I don't think that, I think my colleagues in the G20 were extraordinarily gracious about my participation. I think that they continue to express the desire to work with America, admiration about many things American. There were occasional comments, usually wedged into some other topic, that indicated from their perspective that this started in America, or this started on Wall Street, or this started with particular banks or companies. You know, perhaps what helped was my willingness to acknowledge that, and it's hard to deny, that some of this contagion did start on Wall Street. As I've said back home, as I've said in public, and as I would say in private, we had a number of firms that took wild and unjustified risks. We had regulators that were asleep at the switch, and it has taken an enormous toll on the U.S. economy and has spread to the world economy. Now, I think that part of the reason people didn't give me too hard a time is because if you look at European banks or Asian banks, that they've had their own issues, both in the past and in the future. And I think there was a very constructive discussion about the fact that given global financial flows, that unless we've got much more effective coordinated regulatory strategies, supervision, standards, that these problems will appear again. You know, money is, you know, can move around the globe in a second, and it will seek out the highest returns, and if those highest returns end up being built on a house of cards, then we're going to be seeing another threat to the world financial system, wherever that house of cards might be. And so overall, I think there was an extraordinarily constructive approach among all the leaders. I was very impressed with them. I'm very grateful to them. And I'm excited about the ability not just to help heal this economy, but also to make progress on a sustainable model of economic growth that relies less on a cycle of bubble and bust, something that I've spoken about back home. All right? Thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.